More than 2 billion people today identify with Christianity. While the faith is often synonymous with the massive stone cathedrals of Europe, its origins lie in a remote 1st century Roman province. To find the beginning of this history, we must look past the cathedrals and the European kingdoms that would eventually adopt the church. This journey leads to the year 30 CE in the Roman-ruled territories of Judea and Galilee. At this moment, Christianity was not an institution. It was a minority movement of Jewish followers operating in a heavily occupied and politically tense landscape. The 1st century was defined by the Roman military occupation of Judea. Roman law and Roman soldiers dictated the social and political reality of every village. Under this occupation, the Jewish people lived with a deep expectation for a Messiah. They looked to ancient prophecies for a leader who would fulfill the promise of a restored kingdom. The letter to the Galatians identifies this specific era as the point when the set time had fully come for the arrival of this figure. While many looked for a military liberator, Jesus of Nazareth lived as a local teacher. He remained within the Jewish world, participating in synagogue life and temple worship. By teaching about a kingdom of God that operated independently of military power or social rank, he created immediate friction with both the Jewish religious authorities and the Roman occupation. Jesus challenged the religious leaders of the day on their use of the law. He questioned their interpretations of purity, the Sabbath, and the sacrificial system. He built his movement around the marginalized, welcoming tax collectors, the poor, and social outcasts into his inner circle. In the Gospel of Matthew, he summarized this shift by prioritizing mercy over religious ritual, telling the authorities to go and learn what it means to desire mercy rather than sacrifice. His teaching suggested that the kingdom of God was not a territory controlled by a priesthood or an empire, but a reality accessible to anyone regardless of status. This was a direct confrontation with the established social hierarchy. It suggested that status and power were not the metrics of a person's worth before God. This message threatened the stability that both the local religious elite and the Roman governors worked to maintain. The tension ended in the execution of Jesus. However, his followers soon claimed he had risen from the dead, a belief that transformed the group's trajectory. The book of Acts records a new mandate, to take this message from Jerusalem to the ends of the known world. The movement expanded from its origins in Jerusalem and Galilee, crossing geographic and political borders into Judea and Samaria. Within a single generation, these followers reached Asia Minor, Greece, Egypt, and the city of Rome itself. The conviction that Jesus was alive acted as the catalyst for this growth, turning a localized execution into the foundation for a transnational movement. These early believers met in private homes and small communities in coastal towns across the Mediterranean. They were unified by the sharing of handwritten manuscripts, which helped these disparate groups maintain a single, cohesive identity. Formulating this new identity was dangerous. As a minority movement under Roman rule, these early Christians faced periodic state-sponsored persecution and social exclusion. This period of pressure relied entirely on spiritual conviction. Without the protection of the Roman state, the movement's survival was completely dependent on the deep commitment of its individual members. The status of the faith changed when the Roman Empire officially accepted and then adopted the church as its own. The movement formalized into a global institution. Theologians, bishops, and councils defined its doctrines and structured its expanding power. This influence eventually shaped civil institutions, providing the framework for the development of hospitals and organized medical care. The church's focus on sacred texts also led to the creation of widespread educational systems and the founding of schools. Global expansion continued through the work of missionaries who carried these religious and social philosophies into different cultures. By institutionalizing its focus on education and healthcare, the faith transitioned from a fringe minority into a primary driver of the public services that define much of modern society. Today, this history is carried forward by many traditions, including Catholic, Orthodox, Protestant, and Pentecostal churches. To understand these modern global institutions, we must return to their beginnings in the ancient world of Judea. This long history is anchored in the conviction expressed in Romans 1:16, describing a message with the power to bring salvation to everyone who believes. Christianity is more than institutional records. It is an ongoing history of faith and culture. that began with a single teacher in a distant corner of the ancient world.